Alright, so this is a Har-Aken guide. I'm basing this off of someone else's gear. So I purposely put on T90 tank except for boots and gloves. Boots are tier 90 DPS for the small chance to get invoke death put on the target. And I put Cinderbanes on because majority of the targets in this fight are poisonable. So what I have here is a penance powder just to help us upkeep prayer. A blessed flask. This is not needed, but it's very, very convenient for the longer fights like this. It can give you 500 prayer points roughly, or 565, and it has 78 doses. I have an Elder Overload Salve. A regular base overload will work perfectly fine. A couple pieces of food. I have this because they have what's called the Dill. In order to damage the Dill, you have to break its armor with a melee weapon. So I bring 3 pieces of armor. You don't necessarily need to bring armor, just makes it quicker. I bring a scythe because it's a 2-square Hellbird, therefore I can hit more of them at the same time. When you run into these dills, it is best to turn overhead prayers off. We'll get more into that when we run into them. There is a wave where you do have to fight like 8 of them. But when you see them, turn your overhead prayers. They have a spec that has a hard typeless. I purposely didn't use my Zut Cape because the player that I was basing off of, I believe, does not have a Zut Cape. EOF, I believe she may have. Nonetheless, you can get away with a Conjure's Necklace for the extra damage on your Conjures. We're rocking Zimmergal's Nexus, not needed. You can use a standard Nexus. Windbook to take mobs out. Soulgroth's Ring, it's not hard to get. Do 100 rituals after the quest, and you'll get it guaranteed. Cinderbanes are fairly cheap. But assuming that you can't get them, you can either rock tier 90 tank and or DPS. So let's get into the fight. For familiar, you can use a Ripper. You can use whatever familiar you want. I'm going to use Ripper. But if you're more tanky, then you can use like a Hellhound or a Reaver. Just know that you will need Prism of Restoration unlocked, which is a Siren spell. So let's get into this. We're gonna go. Where is Har-Aken at? Har-Aken Fight Kiln. So that is Har-Aken. I'm gonna quickly get full prayer. Now we're trying to get the Necro Cape. Now keep in mind, Har-Aken is the only boss of the 3 cow bosses that require you to use the style that you want to get the cape for. So if you want melee, you have to basically camp melee for the fight, range, you have to camp range, so on and so forth. But nonetheless, we're going to jump in. We are going to pop our darkness. Keep in mind, I am currently working on rearranging all of my bars, so that's kind of messy down here. We're going to enter the fight, kiln, on quick play. I'm going to start it to fast. Now the first few waves are not an issue at all. And just for the convenience of someone who may be learning, I'm going to pop Vampirism. You may be using Vampirism or Aegeus, or even Penance. And then all we're going to do is just take out the mobs. They're not too bad. Make sure to keep your Conjures up at all times to keep the ghost going. And I'm going to go ahead and play the music while we do this. And every once in a while, crystals will show up in the middle here. Only pick up crystals that associate to you, like Constitution, Invulnerability. All those should work for you. Keep in mind, if you do pick up a crystal like Melee and you pop it, it boosts your Melee really high. Like there is Invulnerability, we will want that. It's not needed. It was needed on release, but no longer convenient. Unless you're fighting the 2 Jads and you want to fight them at the same time, this would be the perfect one. So we're just chilling. These first few waves are nothing special is gonna happen. Honestly, we might even be able to get away with no prayer. But like this is the setup that I'm running. I'm running all Conjures. And then we'll kill the Rangers first. Resummon all of our Conjures. I'm going to turn off the tier 99 prayer. It's not needed for these guys. Once they start clustering up, we'll start using threads to knock them out pretty quickly. Let's turn on our Windbook. I don't remember the first wave that the Dill spawns. I do believe it's here soon. It might be this wave. Restoration, that is also a good crystal. We're not going to pick this one up. We get multiple of every crystal throughout this fight. Keep in mind the Dill does usually spawn a little later than the rest of the mobs. But it's a kind of like a four-legged creature, and it'll sit in the corner until you get too close to it. And when that spawns, we'll switch to this armor. We'll break its armor, then we'll switch back to Necro. So that's the Dill right there. Keep in mind, we will be turning our prayers off when we fight it. So a lot of your AoE abilities are going to work here a lot. Threads into volley, skulls. I mean, you have bloat if they're like one square away from each other. So the Dill has aggroed us now. I'm turning off my prayers. Oh, we gotta make space for the scythe. You'll know when the armor is broken, you'll see a couple pieces fly off of them, which they already have. I'm going to put everything else back on, and then just proceed to kill him. Then we move on with the fight as normal. Now eventually we will get a couple Jads. Towards the end of this whole entire fight, you'll have a couple Jads that spawn to the south, and we'll stand up against the center rock, but on the north side of it. So they both get pulled. One will only be able to see you, where the other one can't. Mage Dog. These things during Zuck suck if they're not dealt with properly. I believe Jed's here. I think it's every 10th wave if I remember correctly. I just don't remember what side he spawns on. There he is. So what I personally like to do is every time if it's a singular Jad in a wave, I will just deal with Jad first. Unless it's Zuck and I have mobs piling on me, then I'll kill the mobs first. But for the most part, I like to do Jad. So when he slams his feet in front of him, he does a range attack. Now when he stands upon his hind legs, he'll do a mage attack. I'm actually going to keep him alive until he does it, or try to. I don't think it's going to happen. We'll get him on the next one. Now the arena will slightly change, so there's a lot less hiding spots. But nonetheless, it's fairly easy. For people who may be scared of taking damage, like you stand here to pull everyone here, and then you use threads to cluster them with volleys and stuff. And then when you don't have threads, you could bloat or even skulls. I should eat a piece of food, so I want this Constitution crystal. And remember to check your overloads and your darkness every once in a while. This is a fairly long fight for what it's worth, so you're gonna have to check them every once in a while. Darkness lasts 12 minutes, overloads last 6 unless you have what is it, Lantidine sticks active, which they will last 8. Another invulnerability one, 2 dogs. We should be getting a deal or a giant here soon. There's a do. We'll kill all these and we'll switch to melee unless he aggroes us immediately, and then we'll switch to melee immediately and get him killed. But we want to isolate him from everyone else and try to kill everyone else and then fight him. So as you can tell, his back is completely solid. The moment we get that animation, it's broken, and now we can attack. You'll know if he uses his spec attack that I talked about, if he drops something on top of you. That's the major attack right there. When his belly comes up, that is Jad's major attack. Now when I come off this rock, I don't want to run straight in front of him, so I'm going to run out and then over, like this right here. Because if not, then he can use his melee. We're trying to avoid his melee. Now we're probably a bunch of meleeers. Now, back in the day when I did this, I stood right here and got them all clustered up. And I used corruption shot or blast, whatever style I was using. But you can get them all piled up here, and I'll wait. And you can even hit them across this rock. But whenever you have them all clustered up, you can just drop a bloat dead middle of the pile. And now everybody will eventually get bloated. Or you can do a threads volley. A good thing about threads is some people may not know is if you do invoke death and then threads and then do your next ability, whatever that threads hits with that next ability, whether it's 3 or 4 targets, all 4 targets or however many targets you hit will get invoke death casted onto them. As long as they get hit by the very first ability after threads is popped, they will all get invoke death. I believe Dill Wave is 29. So at 29, basically I have, I believe it's 6 or 8 Dills that spawn on the arena that we'll have to kill. Overload is not up. Pop that. Now we got nothing but big meleeers and a ranger. Blow up the ranger, summon our conjures, thread since all the meleeers are next to us, volley. We could have done invoke death and it would have killed every single meleeer around. Pick up a constitution crystal. So I believe constitution doubles your HP. And then so for the double jet wave, this is nice, and for the dill, well, the dill wave too is nice for that too. But these crystals have a cooldown on them, like you can't pop them back to back. There is no Necro crystal since this boss came out so long ago. They never added a Necro crystal to the fight, so there is crystals to boost magic melee and range to a very, very high level. Like you get 150 attack and 150 strength, but your defense plummets heavily. There's our third invulnerability crystal. So I will get the melee stuck on the rock. I will bloat the ranger, tag them with another ability. Summon my conjures, switch over to the next one, do the same thing, bloat, tag them with an ability. I'm going to pop my conjure specs. We're going to threads and volley. All these things you don't need to do to necessarily get the kill, but it helps clear mobs pretty quickly. And I'll just switch to a major range spray in case I have a Jad. At least I have one of the styles covered. Now all these melees are clustered up. I don't have threads. What I do have is skulls. So instead of skulls now, since there's only 2, I'm going to cancel that. I'm going to blow, fire off my skelly. Oh, Dill Wave. Okay, we gotta... I think, yeah, this is Dill Wave. So, we switch to melee. I'm gonna pop invulnerability. Get them all around me. And I'm just gonna do AoE abilities. Like Hurricane, we'll do Quake. This is arguably the hardest wave of them all. But our goal is to break the armor. Once we break the armor, we can switch back to Necro and kill him. So there we go. Some of our conjures. Now we're done with Dills. So we're going to pop our prayer back on. Since we don't have threads and volley, what I'm going to do is build up into a skulls, and I'm just going to throw it and let it bounce. We'll save threads for the next wave. And now, every wave I'm going to stand on the north. There's Jad. There's a range hit. So I'm going to focus Jad. Switch to Mage. Jad is now dead. Now we just have the center rock and that rock, but all Jads, if I remember correctly, spawn in the south from here on out. So it's a wave full of these rangers, a wave full of meleeers, and a wave full of majors, and then it's like Jad and then 2 Jads. Now during the 2 Jad, we'll stand either here or here, and when they both get pulled to you, you want to step out into the over. So if you're standing here, you want to go over, and then over, here, up, and then over this way. So the other Jad stays stuck and they can't try to hit you. Because if they both use a different style, you have a good shot of getting killed. Drink for overload. Now we got nothing but meleeers. Which I like these because then I can just pull them away from the middle rock, hit threads, find one that's kind of in the middle, and then volley him. If for some reason they don't die, I can get a volley back, but most of the time they do. We switch to range prayer. So yeah, these are all majors. So it's the next wave, I believe we get a Jad. We'll get Jad in like one wave, Jad in the next wave, and then Har-Aken by himself. You have 45 seconds, or no, I think it's 30 seconds Har-Aken stays up, and then he dives under the lava for 45 seconds, and you have to just survive his arms, which they don't do a lot of damage, and you can build up your stacks and adrenaline on his arms, and you can kill them. So there's our one Jad. We want to step to the corner that's away from him. That gets him stuck on this corner. He can't see us. He's getting hit by the poison from our zombie. So we step up one, over one. Still doesn't see us. When we want to fight him, we'll run out and over so he can't melee us. So what I like to do is run out here. I'll invoke death. We'll throw a Vuln Bomb on him. We switch to range. Another range hit. The next wave, I believe, is the 2 Jad wave. So we will, no matter what, get a Jad aggroed onto us. They'll spawn here and here. So since I'm standing here, this one will attack me. Oh, that's not the double jab wave. So I'm actually, since this Jad already sees me, I want to go ahead and fight him. Switch to range. He's dead. Alright, now we just cruise control for the rest of this wave. Throw a blow on him. Conjure should take care of the rest. Now this Jad will see me since I'm on this corner of the rock. So it's a double Jad wave. We'll wait till they get a little closer. Now they're both stuck. We'll step out one, step over one, and fight this one. It's a mage hit. If he slams his feet, we'll get a range hit. That's another mage hit. And then the other one, ready to go. It's a range hit. Mage hit. So I would assume, I'm going to turn on the T95 because I assume most people would have it at this point. Now we fight Har-Aken. We'll get a little cutscene, he'll spawn out of lava, and then we fight him. Actually, I think I put it on, I put it on quick so we won't get the cutscene. So I summon the Conjures, I'll even extend them, pop their abilities. We'll build up on his arms, and we'll wait for him to spawn. I'm going to go ahead and pop Lower of Bones so we can weaken Har-Aken when he does spawn with the Skelly Spec. Re-up my weapon poison. I can't remember if Har-Aken is poisonable or not. We'll know here in a second, but his head will kind of like spawn for a second, and then that'll tell you what side he's spawning on. I believe he only spawns east and west, and I literally was wrong. So we'll pop this. I like to do Split Soul because he doesn't attack you at all. It's only his arms. And then Har-Aken's dead, fight's over. This guy will ask you if you want an Onyx or if you want a cape. I believe the Necro cape is called Mor, M-O-R. He'll only offer you one type of cape unless you do equal damage with another style. So the Toket Kalmor, which is the Necro cape. I'm not going to accept it because I already had one and changed it into a Zut cape. So I'm going to take the Onyx, but just know that the Kiln cape is the Mor. If you don't have the Mor at the end of it, he's offering you a different style. And that is how Har-Aken's done. We only ate food on that dill phase outside of making room in our inventory for other crystals. And that was done in T90 gear. Keep in mind this T90 gear is tanky. It has Lucky 6, Bulwark 4. Keep in mind this is built for AFK Raziel. And then on the other one, it's Crystal Shield 4, Absorbative 4. Our perks were Flanking 3, which doesn't matter. We weren't fighting anything that was facing away from us. Eruptive 1. Then on over here was Aftershock 4, Eruptive 2. So, that's how you handle that. And then you could also activate Quorum Sticks to increase your poison damage throughout the fight. But I would recommend having a Halberd weapon. If not, even if you have like a Zuck sword, or for some reason maybe you bought one, any melee weapon will work. You just need something to act as a pickaxe. The melee weapons will act as a pickaxe. So use any sword you have, any melee weapon you have, but being able to use a halberd, you can hit multiple deals at a time. And then 3 pieces of armor if you can help so. And other than that, that's it. Until next time, deuces.